New reports indicate that a location scout for the Netflix series Narcos was tragically murdered while he was in Mexico. Now he was scouting specifically for the 4th season of Narcos, and his bullet-riddled body was found in an area of Mexico that's known for cartel violence. Now this is Carlos Muñoz Portal, and his bullet-riddled body and his car were found in a remote area in central Mexico, close to the border of Hidalgo, which has one of the highest murder rates in Mexico, partly due to cartel violence. Season 4 of Narcos is set to be exploring the origins of Mexico's famous Juarez cartel, just as season 3 focused on the rise and fall of Colombia's Cali cartel. Now it's unclear whether or not the producers of Narcos plan on continuing with the Mexico-focused season 4 plans, but this is an incredibly tragic story, and my heart goes out to him and his family.
Yeah, and it's so weird how the power of the cartels extends to this. Well, first of all, Mexico, as you know, in these formerly beautiful tourist areas, like I'm thinking of Acapulco, which is, they say is sort of the Riviera of Latin America or whatever. It has a reputation of being a place where, like, people go for a honeymoon. You can't even go there now. Oftentimes, I'm reading about more and more violence in the streets, and so, but. More to the point here, the idea that the cartels could be so attuned to the media they're getting to the point that they want to murder this guy. I mean, this is a location manager. He's not, there's some high-end producer who was the creator of the show. He's really sort of a foot soldier, and it does send a message. It's a frightening message, and it's a frightening scenario that's being played out in this country, and it's, by the way, reflective of, as I say, what's going on throughout Mexico in relation to the cartels.
Right, exactly, and so right now, unfortunately, there aren't any witnesses. The authorities have very few leads in order to carry out justice for him. But what's amazing to me is that they went to a crime-ridden part of Mexico in order to consider filming there. Don't do that. There's some suspicion that cartels might have targeted him because they saw him with a camera, and so they might have thought, okay, he might be trying to find information on us. He might try to report us to authorities.
Oh, so that
Who knows?
So it's suspected, or at least theorized, that he might not. They might not have known that he was attached to this production.
Right, right. I mean, how would they know? I would be surprised if they knew. But it's such a devastating story, and it's, if anything, it should make people realize that when individuals are fleeing parts of Mexico, they're not doing it to come to the United States to cause trouble. In a lot of cases, they're doing it for, of course, economic reasons, but also to escape violence. And right now, undocumented immigrants coming in from Mexico is at an all-time low, but people trying to come in from places like El Salvador and Honduras, that's up because of crime that's partly fueled by our war on drugs. We have empowered these cartels to the point where they have become more powerful than authorities in those countries. And there are innocent people that are trying to flee the violence. They're looking for safety. They want to save their kids from murder. And that's the reason why they're trying to, go to other countries in an undocumented fashion.
Yeah, what Anna's talking about is so true. The stream of refugees from violence. I mean, this is rape and murder going on in Central America, and they're passing through Mexico on the way here, and they come on top of these trains. If you haven't gone online, you can see it. It's heartbreaking. These kids who are huddled on top of the train as it goes hundreds of miles, So yeah, what's driving immigration again from Central America is not economic opportunity even so much anymore, because there's less and less of that in this country, as you know. But it's the fear of death. It's a fear of murder.
Right, and it's interesting because Mexico never felt that it needed to secure its southern border. And now all of a sudden, they're noticing this influx of refugees essentially from Central America pouring into their country. And so they all of a sudden are dealing with not a similar issue, but immigration policy questions that the US has had to face. And so it's all pretty interesting stuff. And again, my heart goes out to this poor guy's family, and it's okay to shoot the show in New Mexico or Arizona or a place that kind of maybe you can make appear to look like Mexico.
My friend just wrapped a show all about Iraq, and they shot it in New Mexico. New Mexico doubles for Mexico all the time. This is one of those things where you feel like, well, if they're on Entertainment Tonight or one of those shows, they're going to go, yeah, let me tell you, we went down and actually shot it in Mexico. And man, I'll tell you, that place is no party, but we wanted to have an authentic feel. Bullshit. Don't risk people's lives. Move the production to New Mexico and hire a bunch of authentic people. That's what Hollywood is. It's casting.
TYT membership gets you commercial-free Young Turks. Download it, stream it, podcast it, get all the network shows, and support independent media. TYTnetwork.com/join.